In a quiet African village, the sun had barely risen when the mother and father hurried off to the market, leaving their 7-year-old daughter alone in their small clay home. She sat by the window watching the empty path outside, feeling both curious and anxious. As the minutes passed, a soft wind began to blow, rustling the dry leaves outside. Then she heard it, a whisper, soft but clear, calling her name. Her heart raced and she looked around the room. Shadows flickered in the corners, stretching and bending in strange shapes. The girl held her breath, unsure whether to cry or run. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Trembling, she peeked through the small wooden window. No one was there. But when she stepped closer, she noticed a tiny footprint pressed into the dust on the floor, as if someone small had walked right through the house. She shivered and stepped back, clutching her shawl tightly. Hours later, when the parents returned, the house seemed quiet, yet on the wall, a strange drawing had appeared. It showed a figure with glowing eyes watching from outside. The girl whispered nothing, but the parents felt a chill. Someone had been there and the story was far from over. In a small African village, a young boy was left alone for the first time while his parents went to tend the fields. In the corner of his tiny home stood his grandfather's ancient drum, its wood dark and polished from generations of hands. All day the house was silent, but as night fell, the silence turned heavy. Then, faintly at first, the drum began to thump on its own, a deep, rhythmic beat echoing through the empty room. The boy froze, heart pounding, unsure if it was his imagination. Each beat grew louder, filling the corners with shadows that seemed to sway. Trembling, he followed the sound, stepping lightly across the floor. Tiny footprints appeared in the dust, circling the house as if someone, or something, was marking a secret path. He crouched, trying to understand who could be there, but saw nothing. Dawn broke and his parents returned, calling his name. The boy pointed to the drum, now cracked down its side as though it had been struck by unseen hands. No footprints remained and no one claimed responsibility. Yet the drum seemed to carry a warning, silent but powerful, whispering a question the boy couldn't answer. Who had visited him in the night and why had they come? A young boy sat alone in his small village home as the sun dipped below the horizon, leaving long shadows across the dusty floor. His parents had gone to the fields, trusting that nothing unusual would happen. In the corner rested his grandfather's ancient drum, its dark wood polished by generations, a symbol of the family's stories and secrets. As night deepened, a soft, rhythmic thumping began. At first he thought it was the wind, but the sound grew louder, echoing through the empty room. The boy's heart raced. Shadows twisted along the walls, dancing to the drum's mysterious beat. Curiosity mixed with fear, he followed the sound, stepping cautiously over the floorboards. Tiny footprints appeared in the dust, forming a circle around the house, small and perfect as if someone, or something, had moved silently through the night. He stared in awe and terror, unsure what force could leave such traces. By morning his parents returned, calling his name cheerfully. The boy pointed to the drum, its surface now split, a deep crack running down its side. No footprints remained and no one claimed responsibility. The drum seemed to carry a silent warning, a question hanging in the air. Who had visited and why had they left this mark? In a quiet African village, the parents of twin girls hurried off to attend a village celebration, leaving the 7-year-old sisters alone in their small hut. At first, the twins played and laughed, pretending the shadows on the walls were imaginary friends. But as the evening deepened, the shadows began to move differently, stretching and twisting in ways that mirrored the girls' actions almost too perfectly. A chill crept through the hut as the twins noticed the shadows beginning to whisper, soft voices speaking words they could barely understand. The whispers told stories of the village's past, tales of forgotten secrets, old disputes and hidden sorrows. The girls shivered, fear and curiosity gripping them at the same time. They tried to turn away, but the shadows followed, perfectly imitating every movement, every blink, every gesture. Hours passed like this, the whispers growing louder, until a cold silence suddenly fell. When their parents returned, the twins smiled, pretending nothing had happened. Yet as the parents hugged their children, a single shadow remained in the corner, silent and watching, refusing to fade. The girls avoided looking at it, but a sense of unease lingered in the room. Something from the night had not left, an unseen presence that knew far too much about the village and its secrets. A young boy sat alone in his small village home while his parents went to fetch water. The yard seemed quiet until he noticed a figure standing at the edge, motionless, staring at the house. Fear gripped him and he tried calling out, but the stranger didn't move. Moments later, the boy realized small items inside the house had been shifted. Books, bowls, even his favorite hat, though no one had entered. Heart-pounding, he waited for his parents. When they returned, they found a tiny carved figurine on the doorstep, delicate and unfamiliar. The boy's eyes widened. He had never seen it before, and the question remained: who had come and why? A young girl sat alone in her small hut. The colorful parrot her grandmother had given her perched quietly nearby. As twilight fell, the parrot suddenly squawked, repeating a strange warning: "A stranger comes, a stranger comes." The girl's heart raced. Shadows stretched across the walls as the lights flickered, and a loud thump echoed from upstairs. The parrot shrieked wildly, flapping its wings in panic. Trembling, the girl held her breath, unsure what to do. When her parents returned, the parrot had gone silent, perched quietly as if nothing happened. Yet through the doorway, a dark figure slipped away, leaving an unanswered question lingering in the room. A young boy was left alone in the small village house while his parents went to a festival. As night fell, a door that was always locked began to shake violently. The boy froze, listening. From behind the wooden panels, faint crying echoed, soft and sorrowful, as if someone, or something, was trapped inside. Fear prickled his skin, but curiosity drew him closer. He pressed his ear to the door, heart hammering, and the crying stopped abruptly. When his parents returned, the door was closed and still. But in the dust outside, a single footprint appeared. No one had entered or left. The boy shivered, wondering who, or what, had been inside. Two young siblings were left alone in their small village hut, warned by their grandmother about the night visitor. As darkness settled, soft singing drifted through the walls, sweet yet haunting. The children listened in fear, realizing the voice was telling secrets of the village's past, stories of lost children, hidden treasures, and forgotten promises. Shadows flickered, and the air grew colder. Hours passed in silence after the singing stopped, leaving an uneasy stillness. When their parents returned, the children insisted nothing had happened. But the grandmother's charm, which always hung by the door, was mysteriously missing. The siblings shivered, knowing something unseen had been there and taken it. A young village child was left alone while his parents gathered supplies. Suddenly the phone rang, though no one was supposed to call. Hesitant, he answered and heard a child's voice whispering for help, though the voice was faint and eerie. Following the sound, he discovered a hidden trapdoor in the floor, partially concealed by a worn rug. His heart raced as the voice urged him closer, guiding him into the darkness below. Just as his fear peaked, his parents returned. The trapdoor had vanished, leaving no trace of what lay beneath. The mysterious voice echoed faintly once more, "I'll be back."